Hello, and welcome. My name is Rich. This is Champions Online, a superhero MMO based on the Champions pen and paper RPG. This character is Technical Issues, an electricity-powered superhero who I have built. The eagle-eyed among you may notice some slight differences from last week. Friday, I said that I was going to change about my character's power set a bit to make her more survivable, and I believe I have more or less managed that. She's definitely more survivable. Combat's a little tricky. We'll talk about that when we get there. But so, Technical Issues, name of my character. This series of streams, it's been a couple of months. I started at the middle of September. So we're almost 2 months in. Added up about 60 hours of gameplay, probably a bit more. And we're not done yet. There's still a lot more to do. When I first started streaming in September, I knew that I would be experiencing some technical issues in the process of streaming, and so decided to call the character Technical Issues, and also imagining henchmen of supervillains in the game having to explain to their superiors that plans failed because of technical issues tickled me immensely. And so where are we? We are in Monster Island. We've spent a lot of time here recently. Here and in Lemuria, which we can reach by taking a submarine here. Well, provided that I'm capable of managing this mission, entering Andrith solo, which I hope that I will be able to now, given the changes to my character. I will go back around doing the couple of missions elsewhere on this island that I haven't been able to manage before, and also go back to Lemuria and do it's not here, I must have hidden it, a mission in the Mandragore, which is a super weapon, an ancient super weapon built by the Lemurians. It is clear the Lemurians think there is something of great value buried here at Monster Island, or they would not have sent so many Lemurian forces at one time when there is such upheaval in their native land. The Lemurians of old were known for their strange and terrible doomsday devices, so in all likelihood they are trying to dig up some long-buried superweapon. We need to put a stop to this, and the best way to do that is to take on the Lemurian leadership on Monster Island. Vicarin the Blind and his servant, the Hirg Coruscator, two very different things, were last seen entering Andrith ruins from the top of the volcano in Andrithal. So Andrith was an ancient ruler of the Lemurians. He was called Andrith the Golden because he presided over a golden age of Lemurian development, although recently, last time on Friday, we've discovered that he was probably the one responsible for, quote-unquote, cursing his people with the appearance of humans. So before that, Vince Blues, hey! Yeah, cool. I'm afraid my memory for people, especially when I can't match up, faces or icons or avatars to names, is pretty terrible. I don't remember who you might be, but if you're saying you're able to catch the stream again, I assume that means you've seen it before. So welcome back. Yes, so character changes from Friday, and also from, you know, whenever else someone might have watched. This character is much more tanky. I'm curious about whether these rocks will explode, as has been the case in Lemuria. Oh, these are quite tough rocks, aren't they? They're level 42 rocks. Or bricks, I suppose. Yep, the rocks explode. No one important, lol. I was just able to catch your stream a couple of days ago. 900 years of time and space, and I've never met anyone who wasn't important. Raven Force. Ooh, beefier technical issues. Yes, I have adjusted technical issues. I had a problem with stats, and it was either have enough energy equilibrium to cast anything but not have enough energy to cast Geiger Bolt at maximum strength, or have rubbish equilibrium and be able to cast at maximum strength. And it's only an issue at the beginning of a fight, because as soon as I start to do damage, I get lots and lots of energy. Oop, hello. Progenitor. Now, is the progenitor also this time going to squat out? Yes, there we go. Squat out an egg. Oh, and the egg's hatched as well this time. Wasn't it? I'm still getting used to the rotation and the powers of this character, despite staying up late last night trying to sort it out. Surprised that a Lemurian, who is an aquatic species, is capable of breathing fire. Now, I suppose it makes a certain amount of sense that they would have access to darkness powers, like you would see in Lemuria proper, from sorcerers and such, but fire, well, and particularly dark sorcery, because they're these particular Lemurians are servants of the Bleak Ones. So them having access to dark magic makes a certain amount of sense. Pooping out eggs is not something I'd noticed before. But also, I don't know that it's a valid combat strategy. Well, I mean, having said that, I suppose it does appear that the, or yes, an ionic sorcerer who's capable of using electricity, which does also, you know, there are fish that are capable of using electricity. So, viable strategies in fights, in combat, pooping out eggs. It is true that the eggs hatch almost immediately, which is an issue for eggs, and a reason why you might not want to use an egg. The young seem to come out basically fully formed and functional, which is, again, probably an enormous advantage, evolutionarily speaking. So the fact that it's off-putting as well is probably only an advantage. Also shows that these progenitors, the absolutely enormous ones, are female, as we discussed on Friday, or at least so he's taken off, has he? Okay. Or at least hermaphroditic and capable of self-fertilization. Well, because if they're not capable of self-fertilization, then it means that they have recently enough that the eggs have been fertilized, fucked a bunch. I think it was put in for the ew factor, kind of like how bug keepers have that impregnate attack. Well, bug keepers, I presume that that's Qlar, because I can't think anyone else, any other faction would have bug keepers. And now that I think about it, I remember seeing bug keepers in the Qlar faction. Well, that makes me think of xenomorphs, particularly because their firebug eggs look like xenomorph facehugger eggs, because they've even got the the flexing open top part. So it seems to me that Qlar are probably supposed to be somewhere adjacent to xenomorphs. They're the wrong colour, obviously, but other than that... Oop, I may have pulled the wrong group. But egg laying is somewhat different. I mean, yes, it is also an ooh factor, like a sort of factor, but it's not quite the same. It's like having something implanted in you is a body horror thing. It's well, I mean, that was also the point of the xenomorphs in Alien. It was a violation of the person that was supposed to be horrifying, and it was horrifying. It was a very effective horror, but seeing another species lay an egg isn't quite... It's kind of unsettling, but it's not horrifying. Unless you are particularly squeamish about reproduction, I suppose. It might be dependency from mental leech that's healing me, or it might be Sentinel Aura. Oh, why hasn't specializations opened? It might be Sentinel Aura. No, that's 131 every 3 seconds. So it's probably Sentinel Mastery that's healing me for 478 HP. Because I built this character specifically around being as difficult to kill I can possibly manage. And also, I'm getting crit heals, hopefully. I don't know for sure whether these things can crit heal. That's a lot more of those little grubbly dudes than you would expect from one egg. What are they called? I'll have to wait until another set hatch. But as far as I can tell, these progenitors are only laying one egg at a time. And what makes them hatch? Each egg contains 2 Jekin broodlings, apparently. That's wild. Or at least 2. So doing some quantity of damage to them causes them to hatch. Prematurely? Question mark? Oh, it doesn't... Yeah, no, there we go. There's a whole load of them. What's really weird for me is that the eggs contain two or more hatchlings, which is not something that typically happens in nature. He says, talking about a fictional species, but look. Part of a whole huge part of my purpose here is to take things too literally. The fire is damaging the eggs and causing them to hatch more quickly, which I guess makes a certain amount of sense. I mean, well, you can follow the logic at least that if you heat up eggs that need incubation, they'll hatch faster. It's not actually how it works, but something's troubling me about eggs hatching into 2 or more. Oop, that was a surprise. How on earth did I get thrown around like that? The thing is that eggs work by being self-contained, and the development of the young within happens in an entirely sealed environment, right? So the young within any egg, regardless of species... Oh, avoid vents. Oh, okay. It was the vent that threw me back. That's new behavior. Thank you for the tip. So, an egg is a sealed environment. It needs to contain everything within it that will allow for the development to, you know, living functionality of the young that's developing within it, inside of it. Mammals are different because we don't, with very few exceptions, we don't lay eggs, though we do contain eggs. So the fact that these eggs laid by the progenitors here are capable of hatching into not only 1 but 2 or more young means that not only do the eggs hatch incredibly quickly and develop incredibly quickly, or well, I don't know how quickly they're developing, inside the egg, they also need to have enough energy in the form of stored, whatever, proteins or whatever, inside to allow not only for the development of one young, but more at a time, which means that each of these eggs is absolutely packed with energy. So even more than, chicken eggs or whatever, these eggs, these Lemurian eggs, I should say, contain... They'd be absolutely amazing for bodybuilders, basically, is what I'm saying here. Ooh, it's an Archmagus. How do you feel about huge amounts of lightning, Archmagus? Oh, it doesn't like them. Fair enough. Now that I have changed my slotted passive, I'm not fond of huge amounts of lightning either, to be honest. Members of the ancient Lemurian race recently reverted to amphibious form after making a pact with the dark gods known as the Bleak Ones. Many have come to Monster Island seeking ancient relics from a lost era of when Andrith the Golden was ruler of the Lemurians. This sorcerer spawns sigils to surround you, and then will knock you into them for an explosive surprise. Well, you're kind of giving away the surprise there, aren't you? That's him done. Let's leave those sigils alone, shall we? Is it all vents, or just the ones that are... I was going to say... No, this one's not broken, so... Did it break when I stepped on it? Is it just the broken ones that are a problem? Unclear. Before I was talking about the progenitor eggs, I was talking about how it's odd that the brood mothers are capable of fire use, or at least fire magic. I mean, they're supposed to be amphibious reptiles. It's understandable that these dark sorcerers can use darkness magic because they're servants of dark gods. And it's understandable that some of them would be capable of using electricity because there are species of sea animal that use electricity, specifically electric eels. Even makes a certain amount of sense that there'd be, the Archmagus. Yeah, Archmagus, because Lemurians are supposed to be somewhat analogous to, but not the same as, Atlanteans, because previously I'd thought that there were no Atlanteans in the game, and that Lemurians were this world's equivalent of Atlanteans, but I turned out to be incorrect. We discovered Marus, Prince of Atlantis, in the Lemurian zone, and his sister Stingray, a villainess. But still, Lemuria is obviously inspired by Atlantis, and Atlantis has a certain amount of cultural capital invested into the idea that they are magical. Either that or super high technology, and in this case, kind of both at the same time. So it's understandable that both would be the case, in the game. For me, for my money at least. The fire, however, is very odd. The only animals on Earth, or our Earth, that are capable of using, well, not fire, but heat-based attacks, other than humans, are bombardier beetles, which create caustic, hot explosions of gas and liquid with their amazing internal chemistry. Oh, they're patrolling. I was like, a whole bunch of dudes stood here staring at me, and then I left for a moment, and then I came back and they have disappeared, which was a little unsettling. So not only is this the wrong species for heat generation, it's also the wrong type of heat power, because even bombardier beetles, the one species on Earth that uses heat-based attacks naturally, doesn't create fire. They create basically explosions of acid. Also, as I mentioned, brood mothers using fire to accelerate the hatching of their broodling eggs isn't... I mean, you can see the logic, but it doesn't actually work like that. Heating up eggs, particularly in fire directly, I mean, I suppose you can make an allowance for these being fantastical supernatural eggs. Certainly they're extremely strong for eggs, like as in advanced. Eggs don't usually hatch immediately into combat-capable young. That's a pretty amazing evolutionary advantage. Fire, increasing the heat does not increase the speed of hatching, because inside of an egg the young has still got to develop, and there might possibly be ways of advancing that, causing that to advance superficially, or not superficially, but ahead of how it should be. I can't think of the right word, but using fire cannot possibly be the right way to go about it. Although with progenitors, it makes a certain amount of sense that their young, their eggs are capable of hatching fairly quickly after they come out, because if their eggs are being held within them whilst they're, you know, walking around, they're probably getting warmed up and being incubated actively whilst they're in there, you know? It's probably also why the progenitors don't wear pants. It's not really that they need to. I mean, they have, like pretty much all reptiles, cloaca, I expect, which is a covered orifice for all things. Ooh, hello. Let's switch to tank mode. And heal up. Stop throwing me around. I said stop throwing me around. I should probably block that actually because that's a soul drain. Sigils and us, never bump into them. Yeah, well, as far as I'm capable, whilst being thrown around, I was attempting not to. In fact, being thrown around was actually throwing me out of the area of the sigils, which was kind of helpful. It meant that I didn't have to worry about it. No, clearly not. Is it the Dark Sorcerer, or is it, as I suspect, the heavy weapon-wielding progenitors? Probably the progenitors, isn't it? Soul will be mine. No, I don't think it will. Oh, these are breakable. And sometimes they drop gear. Or at least they drop something. I suppose it might be a crystal of some kind. Ionic Sorcerer, not a fan of huge amounts of electricity, it turns out. Crystallis Shard. Ah, okay. Crystallis Tree. Kind of annoying that these objects don't do anything when you're using your energy builder on them. I mean, they're targetable and destructible, so why they don't do anything for your energy generation when you're hitting them, I don't know. Irritating. I'm just assuming at the moment that I'm supposed to be destroying these things. It is at least dropping Crystallis shards for me. I've also got emissive Crystallis shards. I'm not sure what they are useful for. I mean, I assume that they're useful for something. Are they the stuff that you need for a upgrading magic gauntlets device. Right, yes. I thought so. I've only got one pair of those from doing one set of missions. Oh yeah, avoid the vents. Listen, would you come here? Don't want to have to bugger around. Avoiding the fire and the vents. Blowing vents are the ones to avoid. Others are okay. Well, okay, fair enough. Still, however, these are vents that are on fire, and I know enough about MMOs to avoid standing in the fire. Yeah, as I said, energy, a little bit of a problem. I'm still using heirloom gear, so the gear doesn't have the option for me to alter my recovery and therefore my equilibrium, so struggling for energy a little bit. I mean, being hit does increase my energy, or recover my energy, thanks to my specialization. Feel my fire. Taking damage grants you 6% of your max energy, but that can only occur once per second. Should I switch back to hybrid? Might as well. Oops, does more damage. I only really needed it during that one fight where I was getting hit a lot. Come on. They're not even the good fire powers, are they? I mean, fire breath instead of whatever the good fire AoE is. Better damage, but worse defense. My health is still fine. Just need to be a bit more careful. Did he phase through the floor just then? Now that I'm not in combat, let's see how much damage this does. Oh, not a huge amount. Barely perceptible, really. Oops. Still weird to me that Lemurian debris... Oh no, that one didn't explode. That's odd. Sometimes they explode and sometimes they don't. No, that didn't explode either. No, you explode. No. Weird. Oh well. Piece of masonry near the beginning exploded, didn't it? Like traditional Lemurian architecture. All of the loose stones that we found when we were actually down in Lemuria exploded when they were damaged enough. What are these, you reckon? Some kind of furnace. But instead of fire, it looks like, because it's the same green, it looks like it's radioactive, because this is the same green as radiation in the game. Please choose your drink. Pistol of Death. Hey, how's it going? Welcome. Major Power Mystic Shield Evocation. Is this useful? Heals me. Increases my health. After 90 seconds, lose a certain amount of health. Powerful damage shield that grants temporary max hit points 6%, 60% of the time. It works every time. Huh. I don't know that that's terribly useful for me. I thought the game was deaded. No, it's still going. Just about. Perfect World Entertainment, who own it now, have one developer working on it, and she basically just makes loot boxes, which people are salty about. Somebody I met through streaming, actually, last week, explained a little bit more about the situation to me. Apparently this person is not good at taking criticism or even suggestions about improvements for the game, which is annoying. But yes, the game actually keeps going, and doesn't just keep itself going. Apparently it is the source of income for both Neverwinter and, let's switch to tank mode, shall we, and Star Trek Online. Although, I mean, this is anecdotal. So not only is it keeping itself going, it's keeping Neverwinter and Star Trek Online going. Oh, that one exploded. What's more annoying? Well, it's not annoying to me that the rocks explode. What's annoying is the inconsistency. Like, either have all of them explode on the map or none of them. Yeah, also, apparently, according to this person whose name I've completely forgotten because I'm terrible with names, according to this person, the servers that run this also run Neverwinter, so if one ever went offline, the other would as well. It's pretty cool. I love this game. There's a lot about it to love, I think. It could be improved, as all things could. But I particularly enjoy the flexibility of character creation myself, and I also really enjoy the feel of the game. Like, it's very Silver Age, slightly campy, doesn't take itself too seriously. Sort of homage to superhero comics. And there's a lot of references to other cult media, like particularly John Carpenter films. Kaizerin definitely has her own version for CO, but she has taken suggestions and critiques in the past. She's also been involved, to my knowledge, in the customization being opened up since she joined. Yeah, I mean, I'm not, because I don't know the full story and I'm not really invested in it. In the same way that other people are. I think it's really impressive that she's doing as much as she is, just on her own, as one person. A certain amount of the creation of loot boxes is probably going to be due to pressure from Perfect World Entertainment to, like, hey, loot boxes are the hot new thing, that's how games make money these days, isn't it? Make some loot boxes, make lots of loot boxes for us. A certain amount of it is probably going to be that. There was an issue with so there's a new travel power been added, which is broomstick riding, and in the store where you buy it, there are two options for broomstick riding. One is a power that unlocks for your whole account, and the other is a device that only works on the one character that you've bought it for, and it binds on equip or binds on pickup, so you can't like move it like you can with vehicles. And they're right next to one another in the store, and they cost exactly the same, and you can't get a refund if you buy the wrong one. That is pretty bullshit behavior. My suspicion is that it's Perfect World Entertainment being shits, trying to scalp people. But that is a new, like, one of the latest issues. This person I was talking to also said that apparently Kaizerin has decided that parts of the game that she doesn't like personally are parts that she will remove. Like, apparently she was behind the nerfing of vehicles to make them non-viable, and she apparently also doesn't like forms, so toggles that you use that boost your damage when you get stacks of whatever the form gives you. And apparently she said that she wants to remove those from the game. Now, I'm not I don't know the maths of the game, and I don't know anything about building games or balancing, rules or anything in games. So I don't feel like I'm qualified to make comments on this subject. She has been open about not liking forms, but she's not said she will be removing it or nerfing healing. Okay, well, I mean, also, yes, as well as not really being someone who understands the maths of the game or even just of balancing game systems, I did only get this information from one person who apparently isn't fond of Kaizerin in the first place, or evidently isn't fond of Kaizerin in the first place, so I mean, take it with a grain of salt, and be aware that things aren't necessarily as they appear on the surface. quite annoying that these guys can just phase through the walls like this. Cannot see. Well, at least he can't attack me either. Oh no, there he goes. He's attacking me. Despite the fact that I can't see him. If I can... Alright, let's go behind a wall so that he has to try and follow me. No, he's stuck in the wall. Won't leave. What's he up to? Oh well, whatever. He'll turn up or he won't. This looks like it's interactable, but okay. Well, let's wait for the patrol to come out. Just me, or did that not do very much? No, that was a big hit, wasn't it? But still, I mean, what Champions Online has got going for it, in my opinion, is huge character customization. Not only in costume, like appearance. I mean, it could be better, in my opinion. Female characters aren't as beefy as they could be. It's not possible, I mean, to get as beefy as I would like, or as I think would be good. But also in the flexibility in power selection. Like, you can pick any old jank that you want. It won't be good, it won't function very well, but you can pick any powers that your heart desires. And I really appreciate flexibility in creation like this. You can create basically a perfect recreation of Superman if you want. It won't be terribly good, it won't do very much damage. Probably quite good as a tank, actually. Well, maybe. I mean, I don't know how you support energy generation in it, which is getting a little bit into, or quite a lot into, the specifics of running a character, which I've been trying to stay away from. I mean, I'm not an expert on it at all, on the subject. I use other people's builds for the most part. I did come up with the one for this on my own. Well, not entirely on my own, with some help from an existing build. But for people who don't already know the systems of the game, I don't believe that extensive talk on character rules and specifics and stuff is especially good viewing. Although, having said that, I don't know how much of my viewership on this stream is made up of people who don't already know much about the game. I mean, it's entirely possible that people who are curious about the game but haven't played it themselves or played very much of it have come along to find and searched on Twitch to find people streaming. What is... Oh right, it's lightning, okay. I didn't think that it was flashing in quite the same way as a mission objective or interactable object. Anyway, so as I said, I don't know how many people who are watching are super into the game and know all about the systems and the rules and stuff. So my assumption is that, or I'm making the assumption that viewers probably don't know, and as such probably not terribly interested in hearing me talk extensively about how to build a functional character by taking advantage of the synergy of the rules. I'll leave that to other people. I'm here to be a charming weirdo who amuses and diverts you. By talking about how weird it is that Lemurian eggs hatch into pairs. Because as far as I know, that doesn't happen in nature. Because, as I said, each egg has to contain enough energy. Do I have to destroy these things? Is that what's up? Is this a destructible object? No, I can't select it. Each egg is a self-contained unit and has to contain enough energy for the development of the young within. Like the full 2 functionality development of the young within. So having an egg that can develop into a pair of creatures means it has to have twice the amount of energy stored within that it would need if it was only going to develop into one unique creature. Also means biologically these things are twins or triplets, probably identical. Perk Iguana. Defeat 1,000 Lemurians. Cool. So this is taking a while. Not doing a huge amount of damage, but the important thing is that I'm not taking a huge amount of damage. Or the damage is not inconveniencing me significantly. Alright. Let's go, chaps. Since I no longer have the slotted passive that boosts my electricity damage, because I'm not playing as a DPS type, I no longer gain the benefit of energy from electrical attacks, so I don't laugh at them quite in the same way as I used to. I mean, I still kind of laugh at attacks in the same way as someone whose character that's immensely tough laughs everything off. Or most things. I mean, I still get thrown around, which is annoying. How much of this map is there? I mean, it's difficult to tell because each section is its own unique piece of map, or at least it's not showing the rest of the map. It's only showing these few rooms. had a look at... I've played Lord of the Rings online, on and off, a bit. Not as much as this. And not since it came out either, in the same way that I have played Champions Online since it came out. Looking at whether I'd play it on stream. Probably not next. I want to play DCUO next. To compare superhero MMOs. And it is a very different beast to Champions Online. But I might play Lord of the Rings online on stream at some point. The only thing is, for me at the moment, is that to play the expansions you need to buy them, and they're about 25 quid each. I think there's 3 or 4 expansions. You don't just get the expansion, you get a bunch of other stuff like... this is almost the same machinery as you saw inside the Mandragora, isn't it? You also get like... oh, I somehow pulled attention from this one immediately. Herg Coruscator. Villain from the House Herg. Okay. Doesn't tell me very much, does it? The power of those who dwell in bleakness surges within me. Okay. The power of not caring about attacks surges within me. Wow, he has got a lot of health, hasn't he? This fight's going to take a while. I'm glad I didn't pull the rest of the room whilst I was... coming in. I'm glad that I'm avoiding these things on the floor as well. Doing anything appreciable to his health bar, am I? I mean, you can just about see a sliver of a gap there. On the other hand, he's not doing anything appreciable to me either, which is good. And that's what we want. Purpose of the build. Probably don't want to risk switching to hybrid because blocked a bit late there. If I do that, I'll take a lot more damage, which I don't really want. Oh damn it! How did that pull these guys? My lightning bolt lanced through and hit. It probably did, didn't it? That's probably what happened. Stop using control powers on me. Even if we as players could get the resistance buff to repeat applications of control powers, wouldn't it? Probably a bit too OP, but whatever. Does he not take damage standing on top of this lightning stuff? I mean, I guess not. Come here, Norbert, so I can use Thunderclap on you. Clap. Yeah. It makes sense thematically as well as, oh well, it's adjacent thematically. As well as being useful in terms of power. This is probably going to take... Yeah, you can actually see some dark, unused section of his health bar there. Let's aim a different way, in the hopes that our lightning bolt, or Geiger bolt rather, doesn't head off and hit someone else and pull them in. Power of those who dwell in bleakness surges within me. Yes, you've told me that already. Ooh, these are destructible. That's good to know. Oh no, they're not. Damn it. I was getting excited there. It was a piece of debris, not the... Oh, so he's the one who turns on and off whether it's lightning-y. Okay. Isn't his power set a bit too diverse? Like, he's got lightning powers and also might powers. There isn't some secret way to defeat him quickly, is there? You just have to grit your teeth and make your way through the long way. I got a little bit excited earlier when I saw that there was a health bar over this slab of presumably metal, but I should have realised that it wasn't the slab because it wasn't centered over the object. It's a full team mission, yeah. And not like a 1 to 5 mission either, it's a full 5-man job. Oh, fuck off, will you? I mean, I knew it would be tough, but I didn't know that the final boss at the end was going to be this difficult, or, well, time-consuming. Not difficult, really. I mean, is this unusual for these missions? I got to Ripper in the this is the midway boss. Oh god, I'm gonna be here for the whole 3 hours in this one mission, aren't I? Yeah, I got to Ripper in the Viper Nest mission, and he actually was doing an appreciable quantity of damage to. Like, you could actually see his health bar go down. I just wasn't capable of doing enough quickly enough, and also keeping my own health up at the time because my build was not this resilient. Probably not going to keep bothering with Geiger Bolt because it's you have to charge it up rather than maintain it, and it also, Geiger Bolt, annoyingly, applies a debuff to you that stops you from being able to use Geiger Bolt again in the next 8 seconds, which I think is a bit shitty, because Geiger Bolt's not the ult of the electric set, or at least it isn't anymore. It used to be, I think, or maybe it used to be. I know that like an actual ultimate lightning ability got added in one of the loot boxes. I think it was the Rave box, I don't remember. So it's not an ability that I can spam, even though it does do the most damage. And because it's charge up and then use, like, you have to charge it up and before it goes off, it can be interrupted. And like, what was that noise he was making? Does it? So previously, I know that I said that I wouldn't talk about the in-depth power stuff, but previously all the elemental powers, so electricity, fire, ice, wind and force, all had one ult power together. The function of which eluded me, or still eludes me, like you charge up, or you take damage and then you release it or something. I was never very clear on how exactly it was supposed to work because I never used it. So it's not like lightning was missing an ultimate ability. It's not like other power sets had an ult that lightning didn't, because it didn't receive the same development. Like, it did have access to an ult. It's just it wasn't perfect thematically. So Geiger Bolt shouldn't really be functioning. Energy Storm is a broken mess, yeah. Energy Storm, that's the name of the ult, right. Broken good or just broken? Like balked? Either way. Balked, right, yeah, I thought so. Either way, my point is that it's not like Geiger Bolt had to stand in for an ult It's basically 14 different powers in one. Yeah, it seems like it was a bit unfocused in function. It's not like Geiger Bolt has to stand in for any other power to be an ult. It's just... So I don't know why you'd need to limit how many times it can be used within a time period. Like, none of the other powers that do a similar sort of job in any of the power sets I can think of have this like built-in... It's not even a cooldown. It would be... I think Geiger Bolt was given a limitation because of how Force Cascade works. I don't... Force Cascade is... It consumes forms, doesn't it? Energy forms that cost a fuck ton. Yeah. Hello. So does Geiger Bolt... Does the debuff that Geiger Bolt leaves behind count as an energy form? So you can use them together. Electric Surge. Temporarily unable to charge Geiger Bolt. So it's not even that Geiger Bolt has a cooldown, because there are other powers in Lightning that have cooldowns. It applies, which, I mean, I suppose if it had a cooldown, then you could reduce the cooldown length by artificial means through stat choices or devices or something, or maybe even one of the other powers. But the fact that it applies a debuff to you, which prevents you from charging the power again for 8 seconds, I don't know that any other power has it in the game, and I just feel like that's kind of cheap and shitty. You can get around the energy surge by activating the electrical defense active passive. Okay. It's not something I've looked into because I can't be bothered trying to make a force set that uses energy cascade, or makes full use of it. I'll just take the word that it involves using electric. As for force cascade just costs a lot. Yeah, but it also removes energy forms, which means that if you've got a toggle power like this, which counts as an energy form, well, any form, it switches it off, it consumes it. I wish the sky was one thing, not two things in one. Like, either might or electricity, that'd be fine. Only slotted passives which are listed as energy forms, so things like kinetic manipulation and electric form. I wish the game was clearer about this stuff. It's like Cryptic didn't want you to play at full efficiency. And Perfect World Entertainment just can't be bothered. I mean, if they actually gave a shit about the game as a thing that has been created and a piece of art, which I believe all games are, in the same way that comics are art. And films are art. Like, if they gave a shit about the game as a piece of art, then they'd assign more than one developer to it. But it seems like Perfect World just wants to milk cash out of things. TO's dev team were taken into Neverwinter Online and Star Trek Online and never returned. I've never played any Star Trek Online, but the amount of Neverwinter that I've played is not really... Others left Cryptic, yeah, I'm not surprised. Didn't really enjoy Neverwinter very much. This may just be because I came to it kind of late and people had already developed habits of play that were not really compatible with new players. I think I complained about this before, but each region had a dungeon attached and you needed to do the dungeon to complete some story missions and I think probably move on to the next section of story, because you couldn't go I don't think that you could get the introductory mission that takes you to the new person in the next zone if you didn't do the dungeon in the previous zone. And everyone else, it seemed like when I was playing the game, everyone else who ran dungeons, who queued to run dungeons and actually went through them, were doing it at a much higher level, perhaps max level, to get drops at the end, and they were skipping most of the content of the dungeon through being way faster than enemies could spot you by zipping past them, or taking advantage of the geography of the mission to skip through. And there was me at the appropriate level for the dungeon, dicking about, trying to... it's not like I could even take advantage of the same methods as they were using to zoom past. Because I couldn't have my character move as fast as higher level players, because that just wasn't a possibility with the way that character progression worked. I've been doing this one mission for an hour and a half, and I really can't be fucked with it anymore. So, tell you what, I'll just stop fighting, because I can't leave through the door, and I can't... Oh, maybe I can leave this way. That's interactable. No. That is the limit of my patience. Let's go and see whether we can manage old Ripperface down here. So what we need to do here is defeat Ripper and defeat Dr. Demogod. This being Viper's Nest. And we're also going to get a mission to do something with computers. I forget what exactly. We'll pick it up in a minute after we've finished fighting. Reach the computer lab and access the Serpentine network before Viper can sever the base's connection. You can gain extra time by using the security network nodes spread throughout the nest. Once you have the data, return to Major Kwame. Okie dokie.
Dr. Demogard wants to see the effect his new Dresha Vapor has on you. You will feel tougher, stronger, and nearly invincible for as long as the Dresha Vapor is flowing. With this new advance, Viper will be unstoppable.
Aren't these guys wearing sealed helmets? Here, eat my bean. There we go. Sorry, feeling a little bit drained. Hey guys, what's going on over here? Are you slacking off? So, I was talking before about Neverwinter, wasn't I? I don't know, that's particularly interesting as a subject. But as a result of not really being able to play the dungeons in the same way that everyone else was, I felt excluded from the experience of playing the game. And it reduced the fun significantly. Also, the rule set was based on D&D 4th edition, which for my money is the worst edition of D&D. And not even based on it in the same way that Neverwinter Nights was based on 3.5, which is an excellent game. Or I enjoyed, certainly, a lot. They altered the powers enough that it wasn't immediately clear how things would work if you were already familiar with 4th edition, for example. In the same way as, well, actually, for me, it was the other way around. So I played Neverwinter Nights before I started playing D&D, and as a result of looking at powers and how to build a character in Neverwinter Nights, it acted as a primer for me in how 3.5 would work. As a result... Oh, they just completely ignored me. As a result of playing Neverwinter Nights, I was prepared to play Dungeons and Dragons. I don't believe that the same thing would be true of Neverwinter and D&D 4th Ed, because they changed enough of the actual way that powers worked, and given everyone a slightly different sort of movement technique, where if you held down, I think, shift or something and then moved, you would move more quickly in like a block. It was weird. And it was long enough ago that I can't remember exactly how everything worked. So I don't believe that it would be possible to gain an understanding of D&D 4th edition from Neverwinter rather. Also, Neverwinter takes place after a certain event in the story of Faerun, which is the world in which Neverwinter exists. So D&D has, I think, 3 or 4 unique oh no, it's probably more than 4 actually. A handful of unique worlds for adventures to be set in. So you don't have to... you can invent your own, or you can use one that already has like a complete map and explanation for what's going on and like history. And so this contains info, but I've read it before, so I'm not going to read it again. So there's Faerun, which is where Neverwinter Nights takes place, and where Baldur's Gate is, and where Waterdeep is, and where a bunch of the games like Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter Nights, and indeed where Acquisitions Incorporated happens, which is a live D&D series that Penny Arcade do. They play it live, and it's not, however, where oh, for fuck's sake. Why are these corridors gotta be so fucking lumpy? Where's the... I'm gonna fail the quest. To access the computers. I wonder whether I can retake it. Yes, jolly good. Okay. Forgot about accessing these computers. Dungeons and Dragons Online doesn't take place in Faerun. It takes place in Dragonlance. No, it doesn't. It takes place in Eberron. So there's Faerun, Dragonlance, Eberron, Dark Sun, and Nighthaven, something like that. Faerun is classic high fantasy. It's based on, but no longer really resembles the kind of fantasy universe of Conan. Eberron is much more steampunk, and there are a lot of Warforged there.
The strong can only survive at the expense of the weak.
Not true.
Now is the time of the snake and the serpent that dwells within all men.
Also not the case.
Now is the time. What? An intruder? Take the fool down quickly in the name of the supreme serpent.
There isn't a literal serpent dwelling within all men, and if you imagine that there is, it, as I suggest, is only because you imagine that there's a serpent within you, in the same way as imagining a wolf or any other animal within you. Any benefit you have experienced from this imagining of an animal within you is purely psychosomatic and based on positive confirmation. Let's see whether I can handle Ripper. Hey, Visbnox. Which storyline is it today? Well, I tried doing the Andrith Ruins and spent an hour and a half there, 20 minutes of which was fighting a mid-level boss. I don't remember his name, but he had over 1.5 million health, and my patience reached its limit. So now I'm in the Viper's Nest. Why can't I fucking... I swear, either the keyboard or the game itself is fucking janky about button presses. I'm guessing it's the game itself because I don't experience the same problem in other games. Definitely pressed and held the button for using the power fully. Like, I didn't tap it. Definitely pressed it and held it. So yes, at the moment we are... Oh, fuck off, Ripper. No one likes you. We are in the Viper's nest. And he starts pounding his fist. Move out of the way. Get to one of his sides. Animation will follow you, but damage won't. Ah, that's interesting. I was going to say, he's clearly still following me. I don't know what the point of this is, but apparently damage won't follow me, which is good to know. Thank you. I've already made more progress against Ripper than I did. Well, not more progress, but I've made progress way faster against Ripper than I did against Herg, or whatever his name was. Does he not switch off ground travel? I thought that one of his attacks turned off movement powers. I mean, maybe I'm just assuming that because... He turns off trouble powers with the giant rock throw. Okay, but he has been throwing rocks at me regardless of being right next to him. I suppose it's not a big deal to turn it back on again. Okay, I've already made more progress against Ripper than I did against Herg Coruscator. So, fingers crossed. The fight against Demogod isn't going to be as difficult. Or will be difficult in a different way to a different set of people, and therefore not as challenging to me, or at least time consuming. I mean, I'd take weird janky mechanics that do lots of damage over just an asshole with lots of health. Because I could deal with the damage, it's the time consuming health bollocks. Fuck off. Buttons next to one another. What even does G open? Do I need it to be hotkeyed? Never use that window. I mean, good to know that moving out of the line of the attack prevents the damage from following you, even if the animation does, but it doesn't actually matter very much, I don't think. Because with block up, don't take very much damage. Oh. continually getting bigger.
Guard, Ripper told you already. Keep anti-grazer gas away, or I snap you in half like toothpick.
I wish control powers would work on bosses. Like, it would just be even then, you know? He's throwing me around. Oh, Christ. Maybe I should leave that until the end and just zoom through the map. Doing the, doing the computer mission. I mean, probably more than 90% of players never even start these missions. It's interesting to see the actual content that was manually crafted by original devs. Yeah, I mean, I know if I wasn't going through the missions trying to do I actually need these? Was that something that I was supposed to use during the fight? I know if I wasn't deliberately going through and doing as many missions as I could, I wouldn't have seen any of this. Oh, they were trying to help me. Okay. Made it more difficult. Interesting that I could still maintain the power even though I was being held, because I'd started it before the hold started. If I wasn't going through trying to do as much of the content as possible, I would have skipped this because I'd have gone. I'd have gone as far as I could manage. Which would probably be like the first room or two, maybe as far as Ripper, and gone Actually, I can't do this on my own. I'm not going to bother. I don't know how much people do if they're on teams. I don't know how many people look for and find teams. My method of playing the game is, I think, probably unusual in that I don't go looking for teams. I usually play solo. Apparently I didn't get mine off because his went off first. By the way, I mentioned powers not affecting bosses like other NPCs. Some powers, such as ice stuns, do affect bosses. Well, ice stuns... Well, some ice powers actually physically summon an object, which gets in the way of... Oh, I need a minimum arm skill of 285 to open that door, so I'm probably not going to get through it at any point. Maybe Vupsneox is talking about the fact that some ice powers have summon a physical object which impedes bosses. What does this do? This opens the cells. Oh well. Can't do it now anyway. Players, master villains, enforcers, villains, and henchmen. The ice cage will spawn, but since supervillains don't tend to move, it won't do much. Looks cool though, yeah. And with ice, I think part of the rotation and part of what you're trying to do is create ice objects and then shatter them. So I suppose it helps. Until scientist who was part of a strike team assigned to infiltrate the Monster Island Viper nest in order to ascertain the nature of the experiments being performed by Viper scientist Dr. Demogod. Research and destruction. Sample the underground jungle. We can't let Viper use Demogod's work. You need to destroy his research. Destroy the servers that contain his research data. You can't miss them. They're big purple towers. Okay. We need some DNA samples from Dr. Demogod's test creatures and from the more exotic flora. It would help us understand his research. Okie dokie. And then there's a book here. Mechanon Origin Theory, forged by Destroyer. From Fear of Life, a theory on the origin of Mechanon by Dr. B. Seni. The question is not who built Mechanon. As the following chapters will prove, there is only one person with the technological capability to build it, and that person is Dr. Destroyer. No, the real question is, why did Dr. Destroyer build Mechanon? Was it to provide a distraction for his other schemes, as a construction tool, a disguise to use when he wanted to act while hiding his involvement, a weapon, or possibly something more? Or possibly as something more, I should say. As I will discuss in the following chapters, it is my belief that Dr. Destroyer constructed Mechanon for none of these reasons, but instead for a reason that's all too understandable. Dr. Destroyer built Mechanon in order to create an equal, a companion, perhaps even a friend. Because, as I showed in my last book, The Loneliest Destroyer, the one thing Dr. Destroyer truly lacked was friendship. I think... Who wrote this? B. Senny is thinking a little bit too much into it. Can I get rid of these guys so that, like, tell them to leave so they don't just die in here? A multinational or worldwide law enforcement agency devoted to containing the threat of supercrime on a global level and beyond. Okay, so there's no individual information, and indeed they appear to be identical, for all that their names are different. Corporal Yosarin and I don't know what PFC might stand for. Furstenberg. I don't know how much more of the mission or of the game there is. Or, yeah, the mission rather. Because at some point I'm going to need to take the mission that has you access the computers. I mean, it doesn't matter that much if I don't do it. It's probably enough to know that it's there, really. So, because I'm a programmer, on self-isolation, I would be prone to coding myself my own AI buddy. Okay, but you're not a supervillain whose only weakness is that you don't have any friends. I'm not going to say I know anything about your friend's situation, but you're probably not a supervillain who lacks only one thing, and that is companionship. Oh, hello. Dinosaurs out and about. Not yet, no. What that AoE was. I tell you what, through that arms unlockable door, or maybe it was Marshall, that door that we couldn't open, I bet that was an armory that you could use to equip those two soldiers. What was it you needed to get through there? Arms skill, yeah. So an armory, and I don't have enough arms skill because I'm not using that crafting. I'm using mysticism because it's mysticism, science, and arms are the three crafting disciplines in the game. They're not relevant to any of the story, so I haven't been talking about them. But so I would have needed to have a really high. Let's go back and pick up that mission to do the computer thingy. No, actually, no. Sorry for waffling on this. I'm just worried that I won't actually be able to complete the mission. Not that I really need it, but... I mean, across centuries, you could argue, people tried to invent cloning because they lacked someone similar to them. I don't know that inventing cloning was because we're inside a cave. Interesting. I don't know if that's the reason people invented cloning. Don't think you can restart. I did restart the mission. I picked it up a second time, but failed it again. Anyway, yeah, I think it's probably enough to know that it's there. Whether I can restart it or not. It's not something you can do solo because, I mean, maybe there's a more efficient, like a higher damage build that you could come up with to play solo, but you're probably not going to get through the mission as much more quickly than I am solo, as it is. And well, the thing is, you've got a 10-minute time limit, and I don't know how long it'll take me to get through all of this stuff. Like, the reason that I failed last time was because I well, forgot one of the computers in one of the rooms that would maybe would have added more time, but also it took me like 10 minutes or most of the time of the, probably not 10 minutes, most of the time of the fight with, oh, hold on. My fight with Ripper took me almost 10 minutes and ate up all of that time, and I don't know how many other fights are going to take as long. Like, I don't know what the intervals are between computer consoles. That's what I do on Archery and Force Tunes. Oh, okay. I'm just following the idea, but I did read some sci-fi novels about meeting yourself. Got an Archery tune. Yeah, I got characters for virtually every set. Yeah, there are the only sets that I don't particularly like are Fire and Power Armor, because Fire requires you to be closer than I enjoy being. You have to be within 50 feet or closer, and I don't like being that close with a ranged DPS. I also don't particularly like Power Armor because most of these are toggles. I mean, yeah, even dual wrist rocket barrage is a toggle. I don't really like the way that toggles work. Nor do I particularly like the fact, I mean, this is a ranged area attack set of powers, and chest beam, plasma beam, chest laser, hand cannon, and eye beam, they're not, and even minigun, they're not really AoE. This is a 2-foot cylinder, so it's, yes, it will hit multiple people as long as you line them up. It's not an AoE in the same way as even archery. This is a 15-foot sphere, 10-foot sphere, 30-degree cone. Lacking Fighting Claws dual blade at the moment, but can fix that when revamps come around. Fire took some time to like. Don't mean to go off topic, but was wondering, is it possible to do freeform archer with primary int? Yes, pretty simple. Can be manipulator for the crowd control lols or concentration. I'm sure that there's a way to build archery with whatever power set you feel like, or rather stats that you feel like. I mean, you can do it however you like. Whether it will be synergistic and work terribly well is a different thing. That's a big egg, isn't it? Is there a way in here? Boss egg. The egg is a boss. it hatches a boss, or it is the boss of eggs because it's so large. Full hatch, got a complete lair. Oh, okay. I suppose it's not the boss of eggs. I mean, there's an egg outside that's even bigger, isn't there, after all? Well, yeah, lol, I meant, is it possible to get decent DPS? Okay, you might try it on test server. Yeah, test server's great for trying out random stuff. I will come back to the dome. Okay. So I was thinking, it doesn't appear as though I can get in, so it's interesting that I was thinking that it was interesting that they've got dudes in there animated doing stuff. So I take it, defeat Dr. Demigod. Demigod's not the final boss of the mission. So I was curious earlier, I was kind of exploring the thought and then got distracted. I don't know how many other people play the game in groups, how many people look for other players. I mean, a certain amount of people will, so that they can do grabs like this to get the XP boost. But when I did that, they typically didn't stick around for missions afterwards. They'd just do it and then do it as a team and then leave immediately afterwards. I mean, part of the problem, I suppose, is that I don't think there are terribly many other players. Maybe not quite enough to have at around your level to do content with whenever you happen to be playing. I don't know what the purpose of that room is. I mean, I like that it's there. It makes it feel like this actually is a space that gets used. Unlike with these other corridors here, and perhaps the rest of the base as a whole. Well, no. This is a room. The door is shut. It's a room that obviously has a function in this base, but not in the mission. Like, it makes it feel like it's a space that gets used. Like, the sequence of rooms that we've been in so far. Oops. Excellent. From your description, Dr. Demigod's working on controlling the monsters. Hopefully, we'll be able to find a way to stop him. Escort Dr. Blau. Well, with that situation cleaned up, I'd best be getting out of here. Do you think it would be safe? Do you think it would be safest if you were to escort me? Do I need to hand in this mission to him? Because if I escort him out, I won't be able to do it Oh, I won't be able to hand it in if he's not here anymore, will I? So the rest of the base kind of feels like a whole linear dungeon, really. Like it's just structured as though it's got one route, and like if you want to get to this storage room because you need something because you're working here and you're in this gym here, you've got to go through this long route through the whole place. Do that after you've cleared the lair. Okay. It doesn't feel like a military complex. It feels like it's got one route through the whole place, which makes it feel like it... Oh, hey. Only it functions as a dungeon rather than a place that gets used and has a purpose. Well, I suppose there's another storage room here, which is cool, that is included. But like, I suppose you could maybe make the argument that it being one long route like this. Okay, so I can't reuse that. Probably can't reuse the terminal through here either. But I was able to restart the mission and it gave me 10 minutes to... Oh, access dojo security. Well, that's awkward, isn't it? Okay, so it looks like I can restart the mission, but I can't do the thing that it's asking me to do to access the... Unless that's not the dojo. Maybe this is the dojo. No, this isn't the dojo, is it? This is auditorium. So once you use one of those computers, you can't reuse it. So it would have probably been a better idea to take that mission after I'd completed this whole area. Unless there's another computer in the dojo that I missed when I was in there. No. This will be the computer the mission wants me to interact with. I suppose if you're doing this with other people, you won't have the issue of not having enough time, or... I mean, in my case, it was because I forgot that I needed to interact with the object. Oh well, let's drop it. But if I were wanting to actually complete that mission, probably should have picked it up after I'd completed everything else in here. So that I wouldn't have any obstacles on my way towards completing it. What's he doing? Hopefully I can get here and deactivate this. Oh, it's opened that. That's where I can deactivate the... What's this? Oh... How did I manage to pull you assholes? Leave me alone. Now can I deactivate the Dreicher Vapors? Yes, there we go. No more steroid gas for you. Now this is interesting. Wonder which one I'm supposed to go through first. I'm going to assume this one because of the way that the gantry is structured. Door is locked. You'll need Dr. Demogard's ID card to open it. Okay. So apparently I cannot go through that door. Yeah, I don't know why Geigerbolt has this inbuilt slow down button in the form of a debuff that prevents you from charging it again. It's not like other powers sets with alt adjacent powers like that have limits built in the same way. I mean, other than the fact that it costs a lot of energy and you can't spam it back to back by virtue of the fact that it costs a lot of energy, like that is the inbuilt tip. Always, always, always destroy brickbusters first. I absolutely hate them. Yeah, they debuff you. There's a whole bunch of brickbusters. How do you boys like lightning? Not much, it seems. That's a shame. understand them. I am less fond of the dudes who throw you around and stop you from being able to do stuff like use your powers. Because I can deal with sudden losses of health. I'm used to it because I'm not terribly good at paying attention to telegraphed attacks. I don't especially care if they're applying debuffs to me. It's all a bit mysterious anyway. It's weird that parts of the map disappear as you go through. Where am I stuck? There we go. Observation dome. Exit to Monster Island. I probably don't want to do that. Dr. Dino
Frankly,
Demo
I'm
Guard.
astounded you made it this far. You're too late to stop me, of course. But you're just in time to witness the culmination of years of painstaking research. Perhaps I should introduce you to my pet. But then he does not like to be interrupted during his feedings. And superheroes are his favorite dish.
Right, let's deal with you guys first, shall we? Oh, cut that out, would you? Where's he gone? Info on demo card. The helm of the Viper nest. Dr. Dino Demo Guard. Who has performed numerous experiments using Dreicher gas, Omicron technology, and dinosaur DNA. His experiments have met with mixed results thus far, but Demogod has assured the Supreme Serpent that he is on the verge of creating a powerful, genetically augmented living weapon. What's he doing? Is he part dinosaur? Is that the implication of using claw attacks like that? Yeah, thanks very much. Is it helping at all to remove these guys before their bars fill up? Is that something I'm supposed to be doing? Yes, unless you like dinosaurs. Are they going to be particularly difficult to deal with on top of Demogod? Got 300,000 health. Not really, I don't think. Do you think it's worth me defeating those guys each time they come out? Can't remember. That gives them more healing sources. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Not only healing sources. But when I take damage, well, I suppose it's only every second, but every time I take damage, I gain some energy. So I'll leave it this time and see what happens.
I will now awaken the latent dinosaur DNA in my genetic code, and your defeat will be inevitable. What irony! The dinosaurs have returned, and soon it is the superheroes who will be extinct.
There is no latent dinosaur DNA in your genetic code. We are not descended from dinosaurs. Birds are descended from dinosaurs. I don't know quite what you've managed to mutate yourself into, but just because you can do this doesn't mean that you've got dinosaur DNA stored in you somewhere. This is just going to be the result of weird gene slamming technology like what what's his face? Reminds me of that Doctor Who episode. Shit, what's his name? Dr. Moreau. Just because Dr. Moreau can mutate humans into animals, mammals, birds, apparently reptiles because he worked on Ripper. Just because he can do that doesn't mean you've got dinosaur DNA in your DNA. Means you fundamentally don't understand genetics or how we have inherited, where we've come from, genetically speaking, what we inherit from. The only way you'd have latent dinosaur DNA in your DNA naturally is if you're descended from birds, which are clearly not. So he should be in the final phase of his fight. Where's he off to? Is he going to do something to that egg? Is he going to molest the egg? What happens if I defeat him before the egg hatches? Can I destroy the egg? Too late. Would I have been able to stop it? Not sure. Maybe with more of a team. Could DPS him down fast. Oh, I don't know about that now. There it goes. Hello, Dino. I suppose letting this happen does reveal more of the story after all. Let's switch to tank mode. Oh, that's a big area of effect, isn't it? Oof. Wow. His health's not going to recover, is it? That would be quitting time if his health is recovered. No, it hasn't. Jolly good. Okay. Oh! Wretched dinosaur, do go away. Open world cosmic paper. Yeah, I thought so. Teleosaurus hatchling. Everything, yep. Agreed. he's not following up. The control power with some kind of huge blast or anything. I wonder what the next phase of his fight's going to look like. Does it change? Does it change when I get to half health? Is he just using stuff more frequently now? Under half health now. If the fight's going to change, but if it didn't when he reached a third health, which it might have done, I don't remember. I wasn't really paying that much attention to the intervals between his attacks. He might well be using this more frequently. I think he probably is actually. We'll find out whether it changes again. At the last third as well. Ooh, hello. Last third. Let's see if his attack pattern changes. The end of the fight. That it has. And again, I don't know for sure whether it's changed from the start of the fight. It might not have done. I was about to say, you would think a normal creature would, if it was this low on health, like this hurt, it would probably leave, or in fact it probably would have left at about a third health, or half, But then I thought, well, then I realised rather, this isn't a natural creature. If it had such an instinct, it was probably removed deliberately by Teleos when he was creating his monster in the first place. I think this is coming more often, isn't it? So the fact that it's nearly dead and still attacking probably isn't indicative of anything odd. Probably exactly as intended. There we go. Perk complete. Vanquish. Did I pick up that object? Whatever it might have been that was dropped. Or did it disappear? Because Dino Guard definitely dropped something. I don't know where it's gone. Oh well. Oh, there's still dinosaurs in here. Hello, chaps. Oh, didn't want to do that. Oh well, never mind. Let's go back in. Probably be quicker to go this way. To go and find that guy. Destroy all of Demogod's notes. But where are the notes? Why is that playing the death animation again? Freaked me out for a moment. I thought it was back on its feet. Oh, these will be it, won't it? They did say servers. Yeah, purple things. Can't miss them. Right, I'd forgotten. I thought maybe... Well, I'd forgotten that that was a thing that I needed to do. And then I forgot that the notes would be on these computer servers and not, like, in filing boxes or something. Read Viper Intel. Serpent General. And there is one more room. Yeah. We request your approval on the enclosed contract between our Monster Island nest and the senior Teleos clone codenamed Teleologist. Though our operation in Canada was compromised as a result of superheroic interference, prior to that our Project Awakening lab had achieved considerable success with an alliance and business arrangement with Teleos. We would like to send an offer letter and contract promising the Teleologist protection from both superheroes and Kular invaders in exchange for information gleaned from his discoveries within his underground laboratory in Monster Island's Slither Beach. Done those. Need Dr. Ah. That's probably what he dropped before. And for some reason it disappeared. Is that all of them? No, there's one left. Christ, it's going to be in that room, isn't it? That I can't get to because the key card disappeared. Really hope that the server is just hidden somewhere in here. It's in the final room. Right, okay. Yeah. For some reason, when Dino Guard dropped his ID card, it disappeared before I'd finished fighting. Oh, it might be. No. I don't know where this is from. But the fact that I couldn't get in, despite trying, it definitely disappeared. I didn't pick it up. I don't know what this is, though. Viper is intent upon unlocking the secret to the Lemurians' power, Ignatium. Even now, Viper's field scientists are using spectrometers to analyze stolen Ignatium samples. You have to stop them, or at least delay their work by defeating their scientists and destroying their spectrometers. Okay. Oh crap, yeah, looks like you won't be able to get in, to be honest, yeah. So, because of some oddity with perhaps it being a different drop type or something, I wasn't able to pick up Demoguard's ID card, so it might be better to run Nest again with a team. Yeah, I don't know that I really want to, or another person so you can get through it faster. Yeah, that'd be nice. I'm just going to drop it because I can't finish it. Let's go back and escort the guy out at least. Hopefully this doesn't spawn ambushes. Oh no, it probably would be quicker to go this way, wouldn't it? Now that I think about it. How have they gotten lost? Oh, here we are. Okay, chaps. Can you manage doors? No. Alrighty then. I probably could run ahead. Well, there's nothing stopping me from just running ahead and making my way to the first room. However, I don't know how good their pathing is. I don't really want them to get stuck in this weird geometry like this. Come on, Demogod. No, Demogod, what's his name? Guy Blau. Okay, come on, Blau. Corners are not that confusing. I don't really trust the game's pathing abilities, so I'm not going to just run right to the end. Immediately, because I don't want them to get stuck. And then have to run back and forth trying to find them all. There we go. So I wasn't able to complete a couple of the missions that you pick up whilst you're in there, but I did complete the actual stuff, like the main things. Actually, probably want to get on this, don't I? Let's go down here. Dr. Blau is safe back at his lab, and he says he has you to thank. Thank you for your bravery and heroism. Viper's Nest. Ripper is a formidable foe. For a while, I admit I was scared I sent you to your death, but I guess I had nothing to worry about. Let me tell you about idiot scientists who've named themselves after dinosaurs, hatching more dinosaurs, including giant ones. Whacking day. We really ought to have a handle on. We really ought to have a handle the Viper agents around Island Nest Viper by now. Probably is missing handle on the Viper. It's probably missing on. Or you could maybe say we really ought to have handled the Viper agents around Island Viper Nest by now. Maybe that's the confusion. Like maybe someone was like handled or handle on the. But anyway, but it seems like every time we foil one of their plots, they have another at the ready. We need to get a step ahead of them, and the best way is to collect their Serpentine network reports. Those are orders that come directly from the Supreme Serpent. You're up for the job, aren't you? Technical issues? Heck, you look just about ready for anything. Okay, yep, I can do that. Where is it, though? Is it just something that I pick up whilst I'm doing... missions in this area? Collect Serpentine reports in Slither Beach. which I think is this area. It's a little bit awkward that each area has a name but not... Oh no, there we are, Slither Beach. Okay. I guess this is Slither Beach. Unless... No, this is the Argent area, isn't it? It'd be helpful if there was a marker on the map to say, you know, this is Slither Beach. This is whatever this area is. I guess there is this indicator, which helps. We're in the Argent Preserve there. There is a small gap where we are just... Oh no, so the beach. Is it when you're up higher? No. That's odd. I definitely saw Monster Island in between Argent Preserve and Slither Beach. I was somehow stuck in a tree. Jeez. Oh well. That's 11 o'clock, so it's stopping time. I think. Next time I will give rhinoplasty a try again in Moreau's lab. I can probably manage that, although it depends on how much health the bosses have and how difficult they are. I mean, I thought I could manage the mission up here in Andrith's Ruins, and got stopped at Hyrg Coruscator. I probably could have worn him down eventually, but I probably would still be there now if I was trying it solo. And my patience ran out after an hour and a half. So I'm not going to be trying that again, not solo. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you for coming and watching, all of those of you who are here, and I hope to see you again next time. That will be Wednesday, 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. GMT. I do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Goodbye, everybody.